Hello everybody, I hope you had a good month. I know this monthly chat is a little bit late because the first Saturday of the month was quite inside the month, but I'm going to still have it even if it is a little bit late in the month. So what happened? Hi, lanky tall baby brown bear cub. That's a cute thing, but your photo is a kitten. Hi Karen, I hope everybody is doing good. So as usual, I'm going to start with what's been going on with me in my life. And hi Ellen. And then go a little bit through the polymer clay and resin world news, and then have a little bit of pep talk. So what's going on in my life? It's a little bit of a same old, but with a little bit of advancement. The only thing that is hard right now is that I have to be very patient. And because, yes, I started feeling much better. Oh, thank you, Kitty. It's actually, I need to diet. After I got my, it was going really bad. And finally, in July, I managed to get my primary care doctor convinced that I need an increase in my thyroid medication. Of course, the blood work helped. Actually, the convincing was not so much convincing her that I needed it, but convincing her to get me a full thyroid panel. Because see, that's the problem with people who have thyroid issues, is that generally speaking, when they check your thyroid, they check your TSH, and TSH doesn't really, that's the thyroid stimulating hormone. It doesn't really have much to do with the thyroid itself, because it's not produced by the thyroid, but it's produced by another gland that's in your head that tells the body how much thyroid hormone to produce. Only that, in some cases, and especially in people who have autoimmune diseases like Graves' disease or Hashimoto's, what the body tells, what that gland tells the thyroid to make might not be exactly what the body needs. Hi Sarah. So your TSH might be within norms, but your actual thyroid hormone levels are not. So finally, after managing to get the full thyroid panel done, and even with the normal TSH showing low thyroid hormone, I was put on a higher dose of thyroid hormone, and it started getting better for me. I mean, I still have some fatigue, but not as it used to be. And I managed to get also my primary care doctor to get me a referral for an actual endocrinologist. I used to have an endocrinologist, but she quit the practice at the OU Medical where I usually go, and then the pandemic hit, and I just, for a whole year I tried to avoid going to clinics and to doctors and stuff. And anyway, and the way that I put it, I guess I kind of cornered her in a little in a way, because I put it like, I don't think it is fair for you as a general practitioner to have to deal with a case as complicated as mine. So the way that I put it, she couldn't tell that I was in any way trying to diminish her knowledge. Anyway, I got my endocrinologist appointment at the end of August. I also managed to see a new spine and pain management specialist. And I got 2 shots in the cervical spine. I need to go get an MRI and then get more shots, because he didn't want to do more, because I have those 2 spots that are worse between 2 vertebrae each, where there is the spinal cord is kind of strangulated, and he wants to do that after getting a recent MRI, so he wouldn't push it too much liquid and get the spinal cord even more strangulated, because I would risk paralysis. Anyway, so starting the 17th of July, that's when I started on the new thyroid dose, the thyroid hormone dose, and I went back on strict Atkins. I lost 8 pounds. I have more energy. The thing is that there are so many things around the house and in my garden that need to be fixed, that after such a long period of not doing much, it's hard to do it. Excuse me. And I get tired very easily. But you can imagine, if you don't work your muscles get weak. I mean, that's normal. But I'm slowly getting there. It just takes a while. I need to be patient. And the other thing is, I would do more in the garden, but like a lot of people, it's very hot here. So the only time I can work in the garden is early in the morning, which unfortunately it's also my peak time. So that's usually when I do tutorials and working on stuff. So if I work in the garden early in the morning, that I'm kind of worn out for the rest of the day, so I don't manage to do much of anything else. And hi, Chris. So that's it. I mean, there's nothing much more to tell you. It's just the matter that I have to, go through this and get back to normal. I mean, think about this. When I first started the channel, I was back in 2017, I was able to post pretty much a video a day. And I slowed down after Whisper was diagnosed with liver cancer, but still it wasn't too bad. I mean, I was publishing a video every 2 or at most every 3 days. But then starting 2018, summer, fall, I started experiencing the fatigue, and then taking care of Whisper, and then I had some other health issues, and it just kept going down. What I can tell you is that between like September, October, I forgot which of them it was, 2018, and July, I put on 80 pounds because of this whole thyroid issue. So now I'm trying hard to lose them, because I'm sure that, on the other hand, losing weight is going to make me be able to move better, right? I mean, it's kind of like a vicious circle of sorts. But anyway, what is that, no, I didn't give up. I'm still doing it. I'll tell you when I give up. I don't think it's gonna be very soon. Talking about news in the PolyClay play world, what I wanted to let you know is that, if you didn't hear it yet, that is, is that there are some new colors of Premo, and I felt like kicking myself because when I put in my last order with PolyClay Play, I didn't even check. I put in my order, and because Trish was during the move and everything, she didn't really have a lot of time to chat and stuff. She's moved now, finally, she's fine. But it was way too late when I saw them, and it was too late for her to put in an order. I mean, to add them to my order. So that was pretty much it. So let me not forget to give you my affiliate link for PolyClay Play. And let's look. It's not just the ivory. It's also... So we have, let me switch to display. So we have the mint green, the pale blue, which I'm very, very happy about. I might actually try again another version of that for Larimar. And was that ivory? I don't think that Trish has the ivory though. Let me check. The opal in the photo, to me, it looks changed from the old one, because the old one was just, you know, translucent with mylar flakes in it, or glitter, large glitter. But at least those mint green and the pale blue, I absolutely want to get. That's a given. So Premo for me is the workhorse, as I said it before, and it's what I do most in the tutorials, for the main reason that, hi Krista, most of my subscribers are from the US, so Premo is the most available to them. But don't get me wrong, I will post more other clays too. It's just that I still have to do some stuff in the garden, and once I'm done with that, and it will be just the maintenance, it won't be that bad. But it was, the main thing was that I had to do a year and a half pretty much of winter and summer and fall debris to be cleaned and all that. Anyway, getting back to our thing in hand, I am not sure if I showed you the latest stuff that I've been working on. I'm testing a casting resin, but it's not about just testing this one, because I'm also working on several casting resin things. So just in case I did not show you that, and I'll be posting soon. I do have a few more pieces that are not set yet. So let's get to this. Okay, one thing that it is a beautiful casting resin, only that it has a few a few caveats. Number one, it doesn't do good with liquid pigments, so forget about acrylic. The inks, the alcohol inks color properly, but if you try mixing and obtaining that geode type of effect, it's not going to do a good deal, because it doesn't keep, it does do some nice blossoming, but as you can see on this one, it did keep some effects on the back, but the effects on the back did not translate very good on the front. And what I mean, even if obviously the effects here wouldn't have reached here because it's a matter of depth, it should still have been able to be observed in this area, and it isn't. I mean, you can still do very pretty stuff with it. I mean, as you can see, this one also has some geode effects, but they don't translate on the other side. And the same goes for this coaster. As you can see, it did not translate on the other side. And by the way, if you want to know what is this super beautiful glitter, because not many glitters do this, it's actually glitter from American Body Art, and it's called holographic gold, and especially in resin it works beautiful. As you can see, these are the cabochons that on the back it did the effect, but it did not translate on the front. The only thing that you can see is the glitter. But I have some pieces with inclusions. It's beautiful with inclusions because it barely has excuse me. Hi Gilda, hi Beth, hi CJ. It does bubble a lot when you mix it, but once you're done mixing and pouring and everything, all the bubbles are gone. And there's the other thing that I did, and actually I still have two of them I still need to work a little bit on, and this one too, but I am going to, and the tutorial will come up soon, but so that you can see how pretty it is, because it's super clear. As I said, it doesn't bubble up, and I am frankly super happy with it. As you can see, this one again on the back, it's a different thing that on the front, but nevertheless the front did a beautiful effect. And I got some new colors, and I noticed that my blue is a little bit different than the blue I used to have, so I need to put a little bit less of that blue, but nevertheless it is. Let me actually change the focus so you can see all this a little bit closer. There we go. There we go. And remember that I showed you this in a former tutorial with the UV resin, but when you go with casting resin, you can do a lot more a lot more effects. Excuse me. And as you can see in this one, I did add some glitter, some of that transparent iridescent, because it does absolutely fabulous effects. And this is just plain mica. So this is an easy cast, so even beginners could do it. And that's what I liked the most about it, is the fact that it's called And let me actually show you in my influencer store. I actually put it kind of like in the beginning. Just a second. So if you're not familiar with my store, I'm going to put the link here. And remember, this is an influencer store. I do not own any of those, but I do get a few cents commission, and that helps me with making videos and tutorials and stuff. So if you go to resin, it is this one, the very first one, the Tea Expert one, and it did come up with all these little extra things that are kind of helpful, but I liked it the most. And there's quite a bit of resin in these too. They don't look very big, but I was able to do a bazillion pieces with it. So it's bigger than it looks, in other words. So anyway, let's get back to our thing. So this would be one of the things. I am working on other things, just out of, you know, showing you some stuff. I did something with my sponsors not a long time ago, and it's something I'm working on, a new faux Labradorite. And I still have to work a little bit more on it because I want to make it completely go away when you twist and turn it. But anyway, getting back to our thing, what else is new? I'm still waiting anxiously for PolyClay to put out a transparent clay. They still didn't come out with the transparent clay. I do have in the doings some tutorials. Hi Tish. Then what else it would be? Yes, I'm still testing a little the Papa's clay, and I'm not super happy with it, but things are things, and I'll get to them eventually. Another thing, let me show you. Trish finally got the raspberry beads. And if you're not familiar with the raspberry beads, you can actually see a short video on the PolyClay Play. If you go, this is how to make. They are very good at making the hammer strike effect on faux metal. So she finally was able to find some. And going back to PolyClay Play, where you find it, it's in tools, shaping tools, texture tools, and there you go. And there is also if you go down here, I made a very short video on how to use them. Okay, and as you can see, they are very cheap. It's a little less than $1 for 4 of them. And it's much easier because everywhere else you try to get them, it's like, yeah, 14, 15, 20, but it's like for 100 or 200 of them, and it's way too much. Yeah, but see, for what I'm trying to do, I don't think Illumilight is going to work. I'm waiting now to see how it's going to go. I've been tried the Artisan, the Franco Garcia Artisan pigments, powders, and a little bit of whatchamacallit, the chalk pastels. Okay, now let's get ahead and do a little bit of pep talk. With this whole, I have to admit, I've been in quite a bit of a funk that was initially driven by my inability to do stuff, because that was one of the hardest things that I had to get used to, was the inability to do things anymore, because I used to be such an active person, and the breast cancer treatment changed all that. So this whole pandemic actually brought a lot of psychological issues to a lot of people. It is true that the one of us who have been, due to disabilities, due to immune system diseases, have been more or less more cloistered, did have a better mind frame to cope with the whole pandemic, with being cooped in the house and being by ourselves and all that. But on the other hand, it's like you're afraid to go outside now, and things were getting better, and now we have that Delta variant. But I'm not talking about what to do and what not to do in a pandemic. What I want to talk about is the emotional and psychological well-being, because some things have changed a little bit. And number one is I know that I'm a rare case, and not a lot of people are like me. I'm not saying that I'm, oh my God, look at me, I'm so special. I just happen to be like that, and I don't really think I have a lot of merit in that, because yeah, I did get through a lot of stuff in my life, and yeah, I did handle it. But the thing is that as much as the environment shapes you, you kind of also need to have a certain genetical component to be shaped by the environment in one way or another. So that was the detour from me saying that I'm not like the average person. And again, I'm not trying to tout my own horn and say, oh, look at me, I'm so special, I can do this. But there are people like me who, even if we are extroverts, and it's something very easy to explain, we do not mind being alone. It's that thing, yes, I'm alone, but I'm not lonely. And that, I think, comes from the fact that, let me try and give you a little bit of an example. there are two. Let's get to the. Get this smaller. No, not you. You. In just a second. Okay, so there are two diagrams that usually are referred to when we are talking about emotional and psychological well-being. And one of them is this one, and the other one is this one. As you can see, they seem to be a little bit paradoxical to each other. I mean, they don't seem to express the same thing, because as you can see here, after the comfort zone, outside of the comfort zone is the learning, the growth, the challenge and the risk, and after that is the anxiety, the fear and the paralysis. While on this one you have first the fear zone and then the learning zone. And this is what I was trying to explain, is with the difference between introverts and extroverts. So for an introvert, this would be more of a proper diagram, while for an extrovert it would be more this. And it also depends. Extroverts are more of a type A personality. So the other thing that these diagrams are not completely correct is that they are not necessarily in this shape. Sometimes these circles, they are not really circles, they might actually extend. And why I'm talking about is that, for example, for an extrovert, extroverts do not have a lot of, they are fairly self-confident. And everybody needs safety, right, and the sense of control. But for an extrovert, this fear zone, some of these areas go past the whole learning zone to the growth zone, while from an introvert, some of these areas kind of bite into the comfort zone. And where I want to get with this essentially is the fact that I know most of my subscribers are either past 45 or have some type of disability, and because of that we already had to deal with the sense of control, because becoming disabled, you do have that kind of fear that comes from not being able to be in control, and so does aging. And we each deal with it in a different way. The whole thing about this is to not give up, because that is the only thing that's going to bring you down, will be the giving up. The fact that we've been cooped in the house, for some, and what I'm going to say is for the people who do, hold on, let me get this back. For the people who experience, I'm trying to get back on my thing. So for the people who do experience a lot of that confidence, it's been much better to communicate through video chat and all that than communicating face to face. And the thing is that the younger you are, the more you need to have a physical contact. While for us, the older ones, we don't need so much. And I'm not going to put myself forward, but I know from many of my friends and acquaintances that, yeah, I loved to be out and be in a crowd, and the whole concert and camping and all that scene. I mean, I've been a pretty rebel young woman. Not rebel thing that I was, oh my god. I mean, I wanted to experience everything. I traveled a lot. I partied a lot. And where I come from, party doesn't mean we get together and get drunk. It means actually partying and dancing and mingling and playing games and doing all kinds of stuff and interacting and all that. But once I reached, I don't know, I would say like 40, I started to be less interested in all that crowd thing, and more interested in smaller crowds, a smaller group of friends, to have more meaningful communication. And the older I got, the more I prefer my solitude, the comfort. I prefer spending time watching a documentary than, let's say, interacting with my neighbors about what's the latest fad in fashion or cooking or what's been on the news. I don't feel that helps me grow, because even when we are old, we still grow. When you're young, part of the growth is exploration. As you get older, the growth becomes more knowledge. But of course you can say that, yeah, exploration is also acquiring knowledge, but it's a different type of knowledge. Hi, Janine. I never left. I've always kept the monthly chats. The thing is that the people that have been hit the hardest by this whole pandemic restriction were actually the ones who are in the middle, like not introverts but not really extroverts, the people who used to spend a lot of time mostly in a small circle of family and close friends. And and don't think that I'm talking about it in any derogatory sense. It's but mostly people with living their American dream. People who are in any way away from that. Hi, Brenda. Sorry, I do have. That's why you hear me coughing a little bit and sniffing, and my nose is itchy because of allergies, of course. But what to do in this day and age when we have to, because even if you are an introvert or an extrovert who likes to be alone, you still have to deal with a lot of things, and especially when you're elderly and or disabled. Again, I'm gonna get back to the outdoors are scary. Getting out of the house, getting out in public is scary, and The thing that I absolutely hate is like, oh, I'm not gonna live my life in fear of this. Well, let me put it this way. If you're not afraid of this, then you shouldn't breathe, because that means that your basic instinct of survival is effed up. You know? I mean, yeah, you need to be in some control of your life, but risking it is not worth the control, because you can be in control of your life without putting your life in danger. And at least that's the way that I see it. And yes, I am vaccinated. No, I did never stop wearing a mask. I simply, after the whole 2 weeks after the vaccinations, I changed from that big respirator I used to wear to a regular surgical mask. But I never stopped wearing a mask, and I did go a few times with my best friend back in May and June and a little bit of July out. But now, as September closes, as there is not much known about the immunity lasting past 6 months, as September comes, I'm going to go back to the more isolated thing. But how can you still thrive? How can you still do a business? How can you still do all kinds of things? Number one, what you have to keep in mind. Yes, the pandemic did bring some extra challenges, but think about this. Yes, Karen, but you don't live alone. What I was talking about was about people who live alone mostly. Think about this and be very, very, very honest. Even before the pandemic, there were still a lot of challenging factors in our lives, and some of these challenging factors were actually made a little bit better. Yeah, Beth, I know. I've been following especially 4 states, and one of them is California. So again, there were some challenging issues before the pandemic for most of us, and on a majority of those challenges, the pandemic didn't really have any kind of influence. On the other hand, the pandemic, and I'm not going to go and do that thing that I hate the most, like you have those people who survived cancer, but it left them disabled, or they survived something that left them be disabled, and they go ahead and start making money by speaking in front of a bunch of people and saying, oh, I am such a much better person, and this whole thing made me a better person, and all that. And if in truth, if they could actually choose between, would you prefer to stay this better person with all the problems that you have, or would you like to not have had those problems but be the worst person that you were before? How many do you think would choose to be the better person? I mean, so I'm not going to be hypocritical in any way, but there are the whole pandemic and the whole thing is horrible, but there are a few things that actually the pandemic helped us to get a better hang on. Not on everybody, but with this whole being locked up and not being able to do much, some people went ahead and started cooking and eating better, or exercising, or learned a new hobby, or focused more on their own hobby that they had before, or made more friends in the virtual. Because I can tell you something, yes, I did before the pandemic. I did have a few people that I was meeting with in person, but most of my friends I was talking to by video chat. After the pandemic, my my rate of video chatting versus not versus in person, but my rate of video chatting has increased a lot. And generally, I prefer, when I chat with somebody, I do prefer to video chat, because when I video chat, I can do stuff, and it's like visiting in person. Let's have coffee in the morning, and I can do stuff. I don't have to stop to type or to hold the phone. I can just place the phone in front of me and do my stuff and still chat with somebody. So our circle of friends actually kind of extended a little bit. So we've known more. Because there was not a lot of stuff to do, some people took to watching more TV, whatever they like to watch. It doesn't really have to be an educational thing, just plain TV. And that brought them happiness. I mean, you have to think in terms of happiness in your life. Everything you do, start not measuring it by the monetary value, not by your social status value, but by the happiness value. Because before, you'd be like, oh, I'd love to stay home and do nothing but binge watch this series or another, but I have to go and meet with so and so because I promised, and then we have to meet. And even if you decided to cancel on your plans and you'd be home watching your stuff, you'd still have that sense of guilt. While now you're like, okay, I cannot do that, so I'm gonna just enjoy. I'm gonna order a pizza and I'm gonna lay on the couch and watch my favorite movie. I mean, I've known of a lot of people who actually had, because I'm talking, and as I said, I used to, I still have. It's just a BA in psychology, so I used to talk to a lot of people as moral support, and honestly, I've heard more people now say that they have moments of happiness than before the pandemic. And it's also that thing with when you go through some type of mass casualty, some type of pandemic, some type of something that affected a lot of people, and you're among the surviving ones, it brings you to that point where you stop and ask, okay, all my life I wanted to do this and this and this and this, and I was never able to do it, but now I'm stuck at home. I'm gonna do it. Why not? And so more people have done things that they wouldn't have done before, and we're happy because of that. It is true that the major things were the traveling and the stuff, but the other thing is that it made people like us. Yes, I did. I plan, and I'm working on something like that, Deborah. Hi, Darla. It made a lot of people in our age range or with our disabilities more comfortable in the virtual and more comfortable into trying to do some type of video creation, social network creation, and it is that the truth is that, as Deborah is saying, that a lot of people want to know what I'm using. And actually, I do have a section in my Amazon influencer store with all the stuff that I'm using for my tutorials. But do not digress on that side yet. I've talked to a lot of people and they were like, oh, what's the use to even try? It's so hard to be able to do anything in this market. There are so many people, it's hard to break through. Well, all it takes is, number one, to set realistic goals. I mean, if you're in your 50s or 60s, and or you're also disabled, or if you're younger than that but disabled, do not expect to be as successful as a gamer like PewDiePie or some makeup artist, or because you won't be, you have to have, in order to have a lot of success, there are a lot of things that have to come together, Number one is, what are you bringing to people? I've seen a lot of people who are like, oh, I'm posting videos daily. And I'm not talking about PolyClay, I'm talking in general. I'm posting videos daily, but I barely get any views on my videos, and then you go and you look at their channel, and it's all about somebody who's leading a very boring life, and all they have to make videos about is what they ate for lunch, and how they are fighting all the time with their siblings, and about what. Who the heck do you think is going to be interested in that? If you want to do something, find something that some people would be interested, like is the case of that there's a young man, I think that he's in the UK, I forgot where he is anyway, but he lives at the close to the beach, and used to go a lot for walks on the beach, and at one point he started actually broadcasting on TikTok all these little things you would find on the beach, little clams and little animals and little sea creatures and all that. And over a couple months, he's got like, I don't know how many million subscribers and stuff. That is something that some people will be interested in. So I don't know, you can start about your garden, you can start about something. Hi Sandra. But find something that more people would be interested in. I mean, not your immediate family, not your immediate circle of friends. The other thing is, again, set realistic goals. If you plan on making millions on YouTube, and after 2 months you don't get the amount of outreach that you are planning on getting, the views and the subscribers and the the ads money you're planning, you're gonna feel discouraged and all that. Don't go for that. Think about, yes, there are millions of creators, but there are billions of watchers. You don't have to grab a huge segment of the market. You don't have to be a billionaire to become a billionaire at 60. All you need, honestly, is a few thousand people to watch you. And that's when you get a connection. If you're dreaming of making thousands and thousands and hundreds of thousands of dollars a month, and you don't do it, it's nobody's fault but yours. And the attention of people kind of ebbs and flows. Number two, especially if you're elderly and or disabled, being able to get through to a certain extent of an audience involves a lot of work and commitment, which at our age and or with a disability you might not have. So again, set yourself realistic goals. Exactly, it's much better than not doing anything. And the other thing is it makes you feel connected. It increases your that tribal connection that's in the basic instinct of the human mind, and that helps your mental and emotional well-being. So again, don't expect huge breakthroughs and millions of admirers and stuff. No, find your little niche and you'll do just fine. The other thing that I can tell you is that the number of subscribers that you get is not really important. Like, I was giving somebody an example because I'm also on like Quora and Reddit and stuff that I give some advice. The thing is that, yes, you can have, let's go back to our PolyClay thing. You can have a channel that's got, let's say, 70,000 subscribers, and a channel that has 5,000 subscribers. And they both post a video in the same day, and the larger channel gets like 8,000 views, and the smaller channel gets 5,000 views. What does it say about those two channels? That the larger channel is kind of going whoop, while the smaller channel is going whoop? Because think about what those views, what percentage of the subscribers are they? In the case of the larger channel, it's like a 0 point something percent, even if there are 8,000 views, because they have 60,000 subscribers. And in the case of the smaller channel, it's like, I don't know, like 50,000, 50%, 60% of their subscribers have viewed that video. So don't go necessarily by the number of subscribers you have. That shows how successful you are. The other thing is, yes, you have places like Social Blade that can tell you the approximate monthly amount that a certain channel might be making from the ads on YouTube. If you think that that's the measure of success, you're gonna be very disappointed. I know many channels, that because you have generally a channel with close to 100,000 that have a healthy percentage of views, and that means at least 20% of the number of subscribers, can make anywhere from 500 to maybe even over $1,000 a month from ads. But I personally know channels that have around 10,000 subscribers, maybe even less, but they make an income, they make 6 figures a month, because they don't go by, they are not based in the ads. Some of those channels aren't even monetized. Hi, Tina. But they go more for affiliate programs, for representing brands, and for making paid reviews. And why? Because they are very niched. And when you are basing your income on ads revenue, you are trying to please, let's say, 100,000 people, right? You're trying to please those 100,000 people, and it's much harder to please 100,000 people than to please 10,000, right? So those 100,000 people might or might not click on a new video that you put out, because in the case of PolyClay, they might like just Mokumegane, or they might like just canes, or they might like just 4 gemstones. So you're trying to please the 100,000 people and putting out various subjects of your tutorials, you risk not having all those subscribers watch your videos. So your ad revenue will be kind of, but if you have, let's say, a channel that is very niched, let's say, people who make dioramas, okay? There are not many people who make dioramas, right? Or little train things, or a certain cosplay about a specific game, or a specific fantasy movie, or a specific thing. When you have something like that, and you manage to be the affiliate or a representative of a certain brand, you know that out of your 10,000 subscribers, maybe 1,000 were just drawn by the, oh my god, that looks so cool. But the other ones know that they want to watch your each and every video, because they are going to see only stuff that interests you, and you're going to give them tips about what's good to buy and how to use those specific products. This is the main reason why a lot of artists and a lot of crafters and a lot of people in general, video makers and stuff, test stuff, and they are sometimes not just sent free stuff by a brand, but also paid to do a specific review, because people want to watch those reviews and they want to know which of the products to buy better than another one, and they want to know how to use it, because they won't have to waste their money and time by trying it themselves. So yeah, you can be a small channel, but you can make more money than a larger subscriber channel. So if you want to start in this, don't set your expectations too high, and try to find something that you can bring to people. And the other thing, because for example, to give you an example, some of the channels that are not necessarily very big, hi Steve, but they do have quite a bit of success, are vlogs. For example, vlogs of people who are living with MS, or who have gone through the gypsy lady. Yeah, why don't you take a break? Or who have gone through the whole breast cancer thing, or whatever. Those kind of channels, they might not have as high of a following, but they have a more meaningful following, and they might not be as large and have as many subscribers, but they are more meaningful, and they might bring more meaning to people than others, if that makes sense to you. So you might not be able to do a successful polymer clay tutorials channel, but you might be more successful in making a channel about something that you experienced in life that other people can relate to, because it's all on how. That's what's a niche. A niche is finding people with common interests. That's all that it is. So if you're able to create a niche, this is why gamer channels are so successful, because there are a lot of people interested in gaming, right? So that is very, very important if you want to do something like that. And again, you might want to do that not even to make money, but just to feel more fulfilled. Try it. You might not succeed. Doesn't matter, you're gonna still meet some people. Exactly, Brenda. Me too. When I first, I thought for a while to start something about that, but then I had so much stuff going on that I didn't feel like it. But I did watch a lot of vlogs, and I did read a lot of blog. So you will find your tribe. Just be honest with what you have to give people. Another way to get a channel that, talking about polymer clay, you don't necessarily have to make tutorials. A channel that would be just WIPs, that is works in progress, and showing what you're making, might even help your sales if you sell anything online. So again, just try to find your niche and what can you give to that niche, and that is the most important thing. But the whole idea is to get past, again, going back to those circles, the comfort zone to the growth zone. You kind of have to get past your fear zone, and to start learning, because it's a learning process whenever you try to become what's called an influencer. You might not necessarily influence people, but it is a learning process for yourself as well. So try it. Try. I mean, it's going to be very helpful for you in this pandemic and in this life that we've been having, where we don't have a lot of control, and the little we had over our life and we were able to set it in place now is just going off, and everything is so volatile, and everybody was feeling better, and now with the Delta variant and everything, it's again mayhem. But try to find and develop something that will bring you back that feeling that you have again a little bit of control over part of your life. And that's going to help you, if that is what you want to do. If not, as I said before, any hobby that involves creation or nurturing, and that's what I've been saying for years since I opened this channel. Creation and nurturing are things that give you a purpose in life and will help you against depression and against all kinds of vicissitudes that the life might bring you. So there's that. And don't forget, I'm sorry that last Sunday I had to reschedule, but tomorrow I'm going to give you some tips about mokume gane, because I know a lot of people wanted to learn more, and what I'm looking at is all kinds of comments I'm getting on my tutorials that have mokume gane, and then messages that I get on the Kalyana design Facebook page. So I thought that mokume gane tips live will be very helpful for a lot of you. So I hope to see you all tomorrow at 12:30 Central as usual. In the meantime, have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. I'm going to see if I can still do anything outside because it's starting to get hot. Okay? Thank you so much. See you all tomorrow. Bye.